Sometimes despair doesn't knock on the door. It slips in quietly at the moment you are most fragile and vulnerable. On a bitterly cold Tuesday morning in the small town of Pine Ridge, Ohio, the freezing wind felt like knives cutting through the skin. Sarah Mitchell clutched her thin gray wool coat tightly, one arm wrapped around her young daughter Emma. She had walked nearly 2 kilometers in sub-zero temperatures because she had no money left for gas for her old, broken-down car. Every step was painful, but the greatest pain was hearing her little girl whisper, "Mummy, I'm cold. I'm hungry." At just 28 years old, Sarah already felt like she had lived a lifetime of hardship. 8 months earlier, her husband had died in a workplace accident. From that moment, everything collapsed. She lost her job, the bills piled up, and eventually they were evicted from their small apartment. Today marked the 3rd day in a row that she and Emma had eaten nothing but dry, instant noodles. With no other choice left, Sarah walked into Sunnyside Diner, the same warm family restaurant where she used to bring Emma for birthday celebrations in happier times. Sarah pushed open the heavy glass door. The warm air and mouth-watering smells inside nearly overwhelmed her. Buttery pancakes, sizzling sausages, and freshly brewed coffee filled the diner. The aroma made her stomach twist painfully. Emma lifted her head, her big round eyes lighting up with hope. Sarah swallowed hard, fighting back the overwhelming shame rising inside her. Just this once, she thought, I just need my baby to have one warm meal. She walked up to the counter, shifting Emma onto her right hip and holding her tightly. Her heart pounded like a drum. Her voice trembled, barely louder than a whisper. "Excuse me, could I possibly get a small meal? Anything at all. I promise I'll come back and pay at the end of the week when I get my paycheck." She didn't even finish the sentence. The manager, Derek Vance, a large, red-faced man whose tight red uniform strained against his belly, burst into loud, cruel laughter that echoed across the entire diner. Sarah felt her face burn with humiliation, as if she had been slapped hard. Shame rose in her throat, nearly choking her. "Oh, another VIP customer, huh? You think this is a charity? Look at you, clothes torn like rags and begging for free food. Go beg outside." Derek pointed his finger directly at Sarah, his voice booming with contempt. "Don't pollute the air in my diner. Real customers are trying to eat here." The whole diner fell silent. Some people lowered their heads to their plates, a few shook their heads in pity, and others secretly took out their phones to record. Sarah stood frozen, her mind completely blank. She remembered the day Emma turned 1 year old, when she and her husband had happily brought their daughter to this very diner. Now she stood here, being publicly humiliated in front of her own child. Tears stung her eyes, but she bit her lip hard. "I can't cry," she told herself. "I can't let my daughter see me weak." Emma buried her face deeper into her mother's chest, her tiny voice shaking. "Mummy, I'm so hungry." Her daughter's words felt like a knife cutting into her already bleeding heart. She hugged Emma even tighter, causing the little girl to whimper softly. A wave of utter helplessness washed over her, making her legs feel weak. How hard had she tried? How many job applications had she submitted? How many nights had she stayed awake worrying about rent and milk money? All that only to end up having her dignity crushed in front of her own child. Just as despair threatened to swallow Sarah whole, in the corner booth by the window, Richard Callahan, CEO and owner of the entire Sunnyside diner chain, had been quietly watching everything. He had come early that morning, as he often did, to visit his locations unannounced. 20 years ago, he was a poor boy who watched his own mother get thrown out of a restaurant for asking for leftover food. Today, he was seeing that same painful scene repeat itself. Richard slowly set down his coffee cup. He stood up and walked towards the counter with a calm but powerful presence that instantly changed the atmosphere in the entire diner. Derek was still smirking when he suddenly froze as Richard stopped right beside him. Richard's voice was low but ice cold. "Bring out a full meal for this lady and her daughter, whatever they want. Make it generous. Add hot milk and dessert as well." Derek stammered, his face turning deathly pale. Mr. Callahan?" Richard looked him straight in the eyes. "Your behavior does not represent Sunnyside. You're fired, effective immediately. Get out." Sarah stood stunned, tears finally streaming down her face. This time they were not tears of shame, but tears of overwhelming relief, gratitude, and emotion she couldn't even put into words. Her heart was racing. After months of being beaten down by life, someone had finally stood up for her. Richard turned to Sarah, his voice gentle and fatherly. "Go sit down. Eat as much as you want. Don't worry about anything." When Sarah and Emma sat down at the table, plates piled high with hot food arrived. Tall stacks of pancakes, sunny-side-up eggs, sausages, crispy hash browns, hot milk, and a big slice of chocolate cake for dessert. Sarah's hands trembled as she cut small pieces to feed Emma. The little girl ate with joy, her eyes sparkling. Every time Emma smiled, Sarah cried. She cried from happiness, from the hope that was finally returning after so many dark days. Richard sat with them for a while and gently shared that he had once been in a similar situation. He didn't offer charity, he offered opportunity, a flexible job at the diner so she could work and still take care of her daughter. Sarah clutched the business card tightly in her hand, feeling as if she had just been given a ray of light in the middle of an endless dark night. For the first time in a very long while, the future no longer felt completely hopeless. Life can be cruel and heartless at times, but it is often in our darkest moments that kindness and courage appear, quietly yet powerfully. Harsh words can crush a person, but a single act of humanity can heal wounds and change an entire future. Never underestimate the power of kindness. Be the Richard Callahan in someone else's story. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the Deep Life Stories channel to spread more meaningful stories. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and let's spread kindness together.